Greetings, it is I, Tantus Naravan Dracovin, Lord and Emperor of the Dracovin Empire, and welcome. It is time to continue my discussion on the various campaign settings of Dungeons & Dragons. Of course, I've started with the Dungeons & Dragons Adventures in Space of Spelljammer. We're going to continue diving into Spelljammer with more organizations you might encounter. These are going to be some important ones I'm going over today, the last couple ones. These are the miscellaneous organizations. They don't fit with any of these trade, military, religious organization groups, which are all important in their own way. These are individually important. Let's start with the Seekers. The Seekers are effectively information gatherers. They seek out information and the truth as they adventure out into space. They seek knowledge. This means that they get into every aspect of spacefaring in order to spread out and learn all this knowledge. This also means that they're both looked at in a positive light, but also suspiciously, because no one knows what they're doing with all this knowledge that they're assembling. So it's like, great, we might be able to use them to get some information. What are they doing with all this? Now their headquarters is a location called the Compendium, which all but the most important ranked members do not know about. Those that know about it know it is a repository of every bit of information the Seekers have ever collected. They are dedicated to knowledge and learning the truth. They aren't bogged down with what the question is at hand or the problems that are going on. It's all about seeking out the truth to this question. Not, getting into those little details about it, about the complications about it. They will go on adventures, trade with people, do everything they can to learn this information. This makes them also excellent information brokers. They can find any kind of information and you're going to be able to get it from them. But they do not deal in gossip. They deal in facts. So if you're looking for more gossip-related information, don't turn to a Seeker. Now, they generally don't have many allies, but they don't really make a huge amount of enemies. They do have some trouble with the Xenos because of the way they look at knowledge, which I'll talk about a little later. But they also have trouble with the Arcane. The Arcane tend to dislike them because the Seekers pry into their matters. Try to find out the answers to questions about Arcane themselves that they don't like being asked or liking these people bothering about them. So you can see there's some tension there, but they generally have an uneasy truce between the two of them that keeps things peaceful. Now, once you're within the organization, they are divided into ranks. It's pretty easy to actually join. But those early two ranks, the first and second circle, because they go by circles, is what their ranks are represented by. These circles basically have the lowest level. It isn't to those higher level circles that you actually start to learn things like the Compendium and more the actual goals of the organization of the whole when it comes to gathering information. When you're just at those lower levels, you're just a basic member, learning some information, maybe sharing some things, maybe seeking out some other places to learn things. Now, they are considered the most egalitarian of all organizations. Of all the playable character races, only the Scrow don't have membership within them. And amongst all the spacefaring races, most of them tend to have a couple of members in amongst them. Again, there are still some exceptions. Things like Neogi and Illithids and Beholders tend not to be the kind that actually would join this thing. But there are other spacefaring races that, yeah, will join this group. And they just don't restrict their membership at all. It's pretty easy to. Now, as you circle up, the original circles you have, you can go to certain libraries where you can find information that the Seekers have assembled. These early libraries tend to have less accurate information, less facts, less perfect information that you're searching for. As you rank up in circle, though, you can go to their more important libraries, which tend to have more and more accurate information. So you can see that there is an advantage to getting better within the organization. Now, should you be at a circle that you cannot find the answer to your question through the research or for adventuring, you could ask a higher circle for basically gaining information. Ask them a question. You're not asking an individual, you're asking the entire circle. They will basically discuss things and eventually decide, probably in your favor, to help you and share this information with you. They're going to eventually. It just might take years. They tend not to be the kind that would say no to it. It's just you, again, might have to take years for your answer to come back to you. Now, the only obligation you have to this organization is to share information. Share things you learn, share events you encounter, share different things like that. Anything that seems pertinent to their overall goals of learning knowledge and information, you're going to share it. Let's talk about the other organization, the Xenos. The Xenos are a human-first organization. They believe, if they're fairly liberal, the enslavement of all other non-human races. If they're more hardlined, the extermination of them. Now, they're pretty loosely organized, so they don't really have any kind of headquarters, but you will find them pretty much spread throughout any of the known spheres. Anywhere there's groups of humans, you're more than likely going to find some of them. So it's all about the subjugation and eradication of non-human species. It also is about sabotaging any non-human works to make sure we're destroying them. It's also about spreading misinformation about things that go on. Spreading basically lies. This could be rewriting history, destroying artifacts, various other things that basically are attempting to muddy the truth and change it. This means that Seekers tend to really hate Xenos because they do this sort of thing. Because they're of the mindset, if you keep lying more often and very loudly, then that lie will eventually become the truth, which unfortunately it does tend to in the minds of people. So they do have this interesting way of going about things that's kind of terrible. Now, for allies, they technically do, and amongst various evil organizations, but it's not very open allies, because you have to consider this is an underground movement more than anything, so you don't really get those open allies. You might just be that they're in a town, and officials might know about them, and the official might not just do anything about them because the official secretly supports them. So you can see how it makes a difference in the way that they go about things, their thought patterns. They're very much more an ingrained organization that doesn't have these direct allies, and just does tend to have enemies like the Seekers who get angry at them because of what they do. Now, to join one, you effectively have to find a Xeno cell. Of course, you have to be human, because they're not going to take any non-human races. That's just crazy if you think they would. They're all about exterminating or enslaving non-humans. But so you're human, you find a cell, and effectively then you have to buddy up to them because you have to get an invite from that cell to join them. Then you're a member. Then you're going to participate in their various activities, which includes things like sabotage, murder, theft, everything to basically disenfranchise and destroy other non-human races. Now you're just obligated to assist them in doing this. If you should refuse, they're going to shun you. Basically, you're being like, why are you not like going up and helping us take out these elves or something like that? They want your help in doing what they do best. So that's it for today. I introduced you to two more interesting organizations. First, the Seekers, who seek out truth. They gather it together for some goal that no one really knows about, and they're looked at with both a little bit of reverence and a little bit of suspicion. They find interesting things out constantly. But what's really the reason behind it all? It's hard to say, this gathering of information. So they're a very interesting organization that they sort of skate that line between friend and enemy very often in the same ways that they have activities and relations with others. On the other hand, we talked about the Xenos. Basically, human-first organization that's all about the enslavement or eradication of all other non-human sentient races. They're all about, we're humans, we rule space, we rule the universe, hey, all the multiverse, it's ours. Go humanity. They're kind of tend to be terrible. They do a lot of bad things in the name of humanity first. In the name of their, basically, superiority, which they believe in. Granted, this means they do earn themselves a lot of enemies. But there are many humans out there that secretly support them. Not openly, because they are an underground organization. But you always have to worry about it, because humans are the most prominent race in all the space. There's going to be plenty out there, especially in the known spheres. Granted, they don't have a lot of money, they don't have a lot of power, so you're not really getting a benefit other than, hey, you can hang out with them. You got some friends that are like-minded to you. You know, that's all you get out of being in the organization. Hey, I got some pals that we can talk about how much we hate elves or dwarfs or whatever. But anyway, if you have any questions, comments, anything you want to say, anything you think I left out, please leave in the comments below. Please like, share, and subscribe. It's your support of the channel, the Empire, the work I do. If you want to show some extra support, you can always check out my Patreon, link in the description below. Regardless, until the next time, I bid you farewell.